Welcome, everybody, back to Andor, Star Wars Podcast, Season 2, Episodes 7 through 9. Not 6 episodes tonight, Justin. We have a little bit more time to sort of get into the episodes.
Yeah.
Kind of soak it up a little bit. What do you think? How are you feeling tonight? You feeling good?
Feeling pretty good. I think the plan, right, is spoiler-free. So if you're new to the
Spoiler-free in
channel,
the beginning, right? That's right.
we'll let you know when we get into spoilers. General thoughts. Wow. Keep in mind, I am, what do you call it? A Star Wars apologist, maybe? Is that the term? So my bias is that I've always liked Star Wars. Mm-hmm. I like all of it.
Yep.
There's obviously original trilogy I like the most.
Right.
But Andor, I think, is my next to Mandalorian. Goes Mando, then Andor. What do you think?
I think that's fair. And I'm a big fan of, or a big believer of, voting with your wallet. Like I showed you last week, I have the season 1 and 2 of Mandalorian.
You didn't buy season 3?
No, I did not buy season 3 at all. I did not like season 3 of Mandalorian at all.
Do you know the Mandalorian pinball machine is only season 1 and season 2?
I wonder why.
Well, I mean,
it's probably when it came out.
It came out, right?
Right. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, season 1 and 2 were, I think, really, really good. Obviously, you're going to tug on my heartstrings at the end of season 2 with Luke. Spoiler alert, I guess. Too late now. Season 1 what happened?
Luke is in Andor?
No, didn't happen. Sadly. I guess he's technically, he's obviously alive during the events of, but he's about, I guess, depending on when you're watching the show, what episode you're on, he's
like 15, 16.
Yeah,
17,
exactly.
yeah.
So we're jumping and stuff. So we'll get into that a little bit
later. He's hanging out with, who's he hanging out with? He's getting power converters now.
Oh, yeah, he just went to Tashi's station to get some power converters. Yeah, he's probably out there, what is he, shooting wombats?
Probably.
Or I'm sorry, womp rats, not wombats.
He's training. He doesn't even know what he's training for yet.
He doesn't even know what he's training for yet. And there's something awesome about that. But we're not talking about Luke tonight. We're talking about Andor. Andor season 1, you know that I kind of rode the wave, but I ended on a serious positive note. I thought it was good quality Star Wars, good quality TV. So far, I'm enjoying season 2. I think it's definitely following the trend, slightly elevated. So a little bit better, I think. A little bit better. What do you think about, generally speaking, no spoilers, these next chunk of episodes, these next 3, 7, 8, and 9, did they continue that trend? How overall, what did you think about these 3 episodes specifically?
I think I need to rewatch episode 7. I may have watched it. So I watched everything just a few hours ago, actually. So
oh my God.
I had finished a meeting at 4:00, and B actually hit me up and was like, "Hey, want to do a pinball podcast tonight?" And I was like, "Well, I'm on with Fox, and I haven't watched any of them yet." So I was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna end work at 4 instead of 5. That's fine, and I'll test Andor and make sure it's working."
Oh, you're gonna? Oh, you had to run. Sure, make sure.
I was doing quality control on the.
Of course,
the
you
product
were.
I work on.
It's
So I've worked long hours, so it was fine. So so 7, I was a little distracted because I was like watching it and like maybe replying to some emails at the same time. But by the time episode 8 and 9, I was fully engaged. I put my phone away, everything, and that blew me away. All of the next 2 episodes, I was locked in, and I think 8 and 9 may have been the best in the entire seasons for a story I wasn't even expecting. I mean, if you take where Andor, the movie Rogue One starts, and you work yourself backwards, obviously the rebellion has to kick it up a notch between, and some big event needs to take place. Like, I guess that makes sense. Mon Mothma's got to like join the rebellion. We know that, right? It's got to happen in the next 6 episodes, right? Because there's only 6 episodes left, and there's 3 that we watched today, and then the 3 is going to be like the finale, right, of the whole series. yeah, I was very happy with the 8 and 9. Great.
I watched all three last night. I
Okay.
had today to think about it. And um I was disappointed with the amount of stuff that happened. We'll get into
Too
I guess we're
much?
talking about well, no, too little.
What?
And we're not talking about quality, we're talking about just the quantity of things that are happening. We'll get into, like I said, once we get past the non-spoiler, but I thought that these three episodes didn't contain a lot of it contained some sustenance, but there wasn't we weren't feasting, if that makes sense. We got our good calories, good solid calories, not junk food, but like good solid calories to sustain us. But we weren't overwhelmed. This was not the horn of plenty. We weren't just like
Okay.
eating till we were just passing out.
It was protein only and no carbs. You wanted lots of carbs.
I wanted the
some
full
veggies
slate.
and
I wanted the
fruit
whole like.
Did we get a
food
cherry
pyramid.
on top?
We didn't get a cherry on top. No, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. But basically,
There was a cherry.
Well, okay, that's true. That's true. But we'll talk about that in just a second. I think that they are still continuing the high level of production value, the high level of acting, all that is there, moving the story forward in a predictable pace. Knowing now that this is going to be the last season, understanding where we need to get to, moving in a pace that makes sense. So all that I think is good. I think we're still sort of continuing that upwards trajectory, but I was disappointed in the lack of stuff that happens. We'll get into that in a lot
I
of
think
detail.
you're like, there wasn't enough character development. You're like, they're trying to kill everybody episode by episode. You
no,
do
that's-
understand.
Yeah.
This might be a spoiler. Probably not.
It's
Andor's the only one that can survive.
let me
Right?
okay
Right?
before we
Right?
go into the
Everybody
spoilers.
dies.
Before we get into the spoilers, I would just say that when my analogy, the way I described it was, we had plenty of sustenance, good calories. So everything we got was quality. Everything we got was, I think that there was character development. I was talking about those cherries on top. I was talking about some of that frosting. I was talking about some of that those French fries. Some of the stuff that you really want that I don't think we got in these 3 episodes. But
You're just mad about David McIntosh.
maybe I'm just really hungry. Maybe that's just
Maybe
what it
you
is. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I need to have a Snickers bar.
Okay, so I think it was. Let's rate it.
Okay, yeah, you go ahead. So I'll let you go. So episodes 7, 8,
Again,
and
I
9.
need to rewatch it, but based
Okay.
on my distraction, I'd give it like a 5.
Okay.
Like
out of
out of
10?
10. Yeah.
Okay, 5 out of 10.
Like
okay,
it didn't seem like there was a lot going on,
right.
and I was just kind of like bored.
Right.
Again, I'm gonna watch it again because it wasn't fair.
Yes.
But the next episode, like, can I give an episode a 10?
Yes, it's your rating system. You can absolutely
I'm
do
gonna
whatever
call it
you
a
want.
10 unless because it's the best episode of Andor. Like, if you only watch one episode of Andor for the entire 2 seasons, there's only one episode you're gonna watch. You watch episode 8. Just watch episode 8. It's like watch episode 8 and you're good. If you're gonna watch the second episode, you watch 9. Yeah, because it's like everything from season 1, episode 1, up till episode 8 of season 2. Episode 8 is it's getting good. And now it totally connects to the rebellion starting. Everything else
Yep.
is just noise, okay? So 8 and then episode 9 I would give it like an 8. It wasn't quite as good.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
What do you think?
I think I'm going to rate. I'm just going to take them in chunks. These are quarters, right? So we had the first 2 quarters, or the first half, and this is the 3rd quarter. Now we're going into the final quarter.
Right.
I would take this chunk of episodes because that's how they're releasing them. I think it's fair to.
Like little movies.
They're like little movies. They're absolutely like
You
little
almost don't
movies.
even need episodes. Just make it one. This
I'm
should
kinda
be
with
4
you.
episodes.
Well, I mean, why not? I mean, that's
These
I
are
would
4
not have a
Christmas
problem with
specials
that.
of Doctor Who.
4 Christmas
Just like
specials.
a movie, basically.
I would give these 3 episodes in totality a 7, which I know seems kind of low, but when you consider all 3 episodes, and I think we're probably going to have different issues with different episodes, but I think all three together equal about a 7. I wish there was a little bit more there, but still, if you're here watching this season and you want to know, hey, before I watch these episodes, are they worth watching? They're obviously worth watching. The series is moving at such a clip, you really can't afford to miss an episode. Not
Yeah.
really.
Okay. And there's nothing controversial about these three. There was
I
the
beg to differ.
grape scene. That's
Yes.
about 10 minutes
Yes.
in the entire season. And so far, if you're in the spoiler free and you're wondering if you should watch it, so far out of 9 episodes,
Mm-hmm.
there's a 10-minute grape scene that's a little controversial.
Yes.
I don't think there's anything else controversial.
I don't think so.
I mean, there was one thing you mentioned last time about like, okay, fine,
Right.
the two good friends.
The two,
There was
They were
more
very good
forehead
friends.
Forehead touching is a thing in Star Wars, isn't it?
I think that you have to ask permission before you just touch someone else's forehead. Okay, this is a safe space. Could be even considered an erogenous zone, depending on the species. This is Star Wars.
I
You
think
don't
maybe
know.
in
You don't
their
know.
version of human, like touching foreheads, it's like a real deal. Like I was watching Andor and Bix. They had this
Yeah.
huge emotional, like he's like, I
And what
love
happened?
you and whatever.
Foreheads.
Boom,
touch.
forehead touch. And then he
There's
kisses
something
the
going on.
forehead.
Maybe
That's,
they're not human.
that's how they make
could,
out.
They could. So then what were those girls doing? Oh my God. Okay, so to answer in the non-spoilery section before we're about to switch quickly into the spoiler section, GeForce guy, there is Force stuff that happens. No lightsaber stuff, not this time.
That's right. There was a little bit of force.
That's right.
Now they didn't necessarily say it's the force,
Right.
but I watched with captions on.
Mm.
And so the captions were describing how there's like music, and I didn't really
Oh.
notice it. I'm like, okay, it's swelling up to kind of.
Mhm.
It wasn't like the Force music, but it was like heavily implying.
It's like it can't, I guess they can't full on use that score because we don't full on have Force wielders. We don't have Jedi or even the main cast. You can have that influence. So anyway, yeah, definitely want to check out, continue to watch. If you've stuck with the first half of season 2, you got to watch these 3 episodes. A lot of stuff went on that we're going to get into right now. And right off the bat, we have established Yavin. It is, we saw it briefly, and now we've come back to it because I guess they had such a great time last time.
yeah.
With all the beasts that were running through the woods and killing people. They're back here. They're beginning to establish a space, and we know, obviously, Episode 4, the first Star Wars movie, this is where the rebels are located. So it makes sense because we have had another time skip. Before we see this, we see 1 year later, BBY 2. We're 2 years away from the
What does that
events,
Y stand for again?
before the Battle of Yavin.
And what planet were they on?
Yavin! Look at that. It's like
I mean,
they
it
planned
kind of
it.
makes sense, right? Like this is
It
the whole
is.
like if you take A New Hope in Rogue One and you go backwards, like, oh, they got to be on Yavin, right?
Yep. That's right. That's right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not. We're not super duper. I guess you were a Star Wars YouTuber, but then you quit.
I did. Yeah. Yeah. The
So
Force wasn't with me.
You know a lot more than I do, but as a non-Star Wars YouTuber, I don't know. Like when it says Yavin,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But I think the real Star Wars YouTubers would be like, called it, and I'm all like,
I don't think to me it makes sense if you're gonna have this is the show, the series about the formation of the rebellion. We see the first time we see the rebellion, they are based on Yavin. So it just makes sense that this obviously makes sense. It's not
it
like
literally is before the battle.
we're actually before the Battle of Yavin. It's
Yeah.
not like it's a member berries type thing. Like, ooh, I remember that. No, this makes sense. You have to go this direction. You have to show this. So 1 year later, we have Shadow 6 coming in and landing on the planet. And I keep looking up some of these names of these ships, thinking maybe they tie in somewhere. Shadow has been used in other places. Shadow 6, not so much. Last week, I got blasted by James Hates Everything, who evidently hates me and my
and
Star
Star
Wars
Wars.
knowledge. It's
Yeah.
not. He hates Star Wars. I called it a TIE interceptor because that's what TIE interceptors look like, with the exception of the pointy bits in the back. And then I was corrected and said that that was actually a TIE Avenger. The only appearance of the TIE Avenger is in the show, so I will be forgiven.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Also,
that it's,
keep in mind,
yeah.
James hates everything. His favorite Star Wars is Episode 7. That
Yeah,
is his
he
favorite.
loves it.
And
he loves it.
On the
And that's
bottom
wrong.
of his list is Empire Strikes Back.
Yes, he hates.
It
Actually, he
goes-
said that.
Episode 7,
Yep.
and then Episode 2
Yes,
is his next favorite.
he loves the Clone Wars.
And
Big
then
Clone Wars
Episode
fan.
1,
Yep.
then Return of the Jedi,
Yep.
then A New Hope,
Yep.
then Revenge of the Sith,
Mhm.
and then finally the one he hates the most is Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back. Yep.
Yeah.
And then I think his honorable mention was the Christmas special.
Yeah, that's right.
Top tier.
Top tier. Yeah.
So we have Yavin 4. We have Willman is made his way back. Andor and Bix are living on the planet. They got a little bungalow in the back. It's kind of cool. Very jungly. They're organizing. I mean, this makes sense. You see the formation of the base. You see that it's sort of a hodgepodge, but it's very much a collection of different groups. You have some shady characters. You have some double agents and secret agents and stuff like that. You can tell they sort of stay here and hang out until the next mission. But you have some legit troopers and military people and fighters. I liked the angle of Willman being the repairman. Like he's called to go places. Like it's a cool idea. I mean, it's obviously a necessity. If you're going to have tech, you have to have tech repairmen, and that's basically what his claim to fame is. So his missions are to make these repairs, and it takes him to all these different places. So I like that aspect.
You kind of
of
like
it.
that. You're like, I don't know why. I just feel there's something really cool about a person that's an expert at a
Like
very
travels.
specific thing, travels
Yeah.
around fixing problems,
to fix
and
things.
organizes
about-
with other people. Like, this is the plan, how to fix this thing. I don't know.
I don't know. Parts of me just identifies with it. I'm not sure why, but
Yeah, yeah.
we'll talk
Yeah, I
about
don't
that
know.
later. So what do you think about Gorman the War Zone and some of the parallels you can draw with modern day? Maybe some of the conflicts in the Gaza
Jeez.
Strip. I know all that stuff. What do you think about that?
What the heck? Like, geez, Fox, why you have to bring up politics? I was waiting for the insurrection to have a little title that's all like January 6th.
Yep. Let's just point a finger. I actually did. I write that. I think I noted that. I think it's on the next episode. Yeah, the next
Also,
episode we'll
when
talk
did
about
they
that.
write those episodes? Did they sit down and watch the
Years
news and
ago,
go,
a couple years ago.
this would be pretty good.
Yep.
I'm gonna
Yep.
throw in some politics.
Yep.
there. And then, so here's the thing: like, look, I'm neutral when it comes to politics. I don't know what to believe. It's all a lie, probably. Everything,
Most likely.
everything.
Most
like
likely.
you go listen to this person, they're lying to you. You go to this person, they're lying to you. But what's interesting about these episodes is you get to see what happens. Like
Yes.
the truth is shown to you
Mhm.
in real time. So you as a viewer are not surprised that the Empire is staging an insurrection and then immediately go and say, well, we had to fight back. There was an insurrection, and
It's wild to see the strings very much being pulled, and this is consistent with what the Emperor, has done to gain power. Is he pulled the strings when he was just an ambassador, all the way back in the episode 1, just a mere ambassador serving to represent Naboo, and then making his way up the chain,
Yep.
and then eventually taking over, continuing to pull the strings. We need, and it's in a way it's funny. I guess it's done because they want to keep the other planets in line. They can't just basically just put their middle fingers up to the rest of the Senate and say, we're going to just go into this planet and just strip mine it. So they have to create this story, this fallacy, and to see the reporting going on and to see the way things are being staged, it is eerily similar. But I will say it's not done in a way that's very heavy-handed. It's not even done in a way that would make you say, oh, they're obviously this political leaning or this political. It's just
Right.
sort of presented, like you said, we're getting to see
Yeah.
the manipulation. You know, it's
Right.
happening, it's going on, but we're seeing how it's being done. I thought that was interesting. I thought that
Yeah,
was
and
done fairly well.
I think we're basically in episode 8, right? Where when the insurrection's taking place, they're singing this music, they're chanting, right? I just loved that entire scene. So
Oh yeah,
they're chanting. What are they saying? Like, the galaxy is watching. We are Gore. Is that what they're saying? We are Gore. The galaxy
Gore. I think
is
for
watching.
Gorman. Yeah,
Yeah. They say it over and over again. And then this one guy all of a sudden just starts singing their like national anthem or something.
It changes to the actual song.
And it's actually great melody. You can tell.
And see, I know. You see what you're doing, right? You see what you're doing. You're jumping to 8. Why are you doing that?
I just said a second ago we're talking.
No, I know, but why? Why?
Because it's the best episode.
Because episode 7, basically nothing happens. I mean, there's a lot going on, but nothing happens. So basically,
Then
let me
we're
just
in
hit the
agreeance.
bullet points.
Go for it.
It's very simple. Everybody meets back up on Yavin 4. The inciting incident is, hey, we got to go to Gorman and kill Deidre. And they're like, okay, we're going to do that. So they go to Gorman, and they don't kill Deidre. Well, they shoot her. They don't. Well, they capture. No, they just go there. The first episode to me is very slow. There's not a lot of. I mean, the things that are happening, the acting, the tension, a lot of this stuff, and there are some things that actually happen. We're going to go with that. Yes,
it's a very beautiful. You should watch episode 7.
You should watch episode 7, but if you're looking at bullet points, you're like, this is just. They say, hey, let's go get Deidre, and he's like, all right, let's do that, and then they go there, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So there are some things that happen, some character moments like you're talking about.
I guess they needed this scene for the episode 8 scene.
I think so, but this is where we're really starting to see a couple things here. Deidre is kind of showing that there's chinks in the armor, right? She's showing her some vulnerability, a desperation, I think, to keep him engaged because he's starting to ask some questions, isn't he, Justin?
Yeah, I think she. I mean, we still don't know her position on things. She. Jump into episode 8 for a second, so I can jump back to 7. Episode 8. She says go forward with the insurrection, but so we, she's a bad girl. That she just did something horrible, right? But in this episode, she's torn. She loves this guy, and I think it's hard for her to like love and be evil at the same time. And so she's trying to save him. Is this the episode where she says like you need to pack yourself, or maybe
this is what she's saying. She's saying it now. We're gonna go. We're gonna go back home. We're gonna go back to Coruscant. And his question is, well, what have we done?
Yeah, why?
We're gonna go back and be heroes. Why? We haven't accomplished anything. He's very much idealistic. To a fault. He really, his motives, his heart was pure in what he was trying to accomplish.
So,
and the whole, go ahead.
Let me tell you what really happened.
What really happened?
So what happened was, so that's David McIntosh, remember? And
that's right. And that's Liv getting loud. Is that what the?
No. It's
okay. Sorry.
The CEO. What's her name?
I don't remember, but yes, I know. What you're talking about.
Who's that cartoon girl that speaks Spanish?
Dora,
that's her name.
There you go.
Okay, so that's it's not Deidre, it's Dora.
It's Dora
she's like runs Arcade 1-Up, and that's David McIntosh. Okay.
Yep.
And Dora is like, look, we're not going to make XLs, we're not going to make any of those cabs. We're going to make these slim machines, right? And these crappy machines. And David McIntosh is like, what are we doing?
What are we doing?
We're gonna be heroes? I don't understand this.
We haven't accomplished anything. That's actually really good.
Yeah, it's super.
I think that this is maybe she's trying to. I think she wants to keep the blinders on, and she wants him to keep the blinders on, and this is what this kiss is all about. But he's not really deterred. He's not going to be shaken. Even the kiss after she kisses him, which we think is way out of character, he's just like he kind of pulls back, right? He's just sort of like this. He knows something's wrong. He
you know
knows
what?
something's up.
It's out of place because she didn't touch his forehead.
Well, that's why he doesn't know what's going on, because this is not a forehead touch. He's not aware. He doesn't know.
I think no joke. I think they didn't touch foreheads on purpose.
Because we're gonna
Just give me 1 second with this forehead thing. So
okay.
I asked
We're
ChatGPT.
gonna travel down the okay.
Rey and Kylo Ren touch foreheads. Jyn Erso and Galen Erso from Rogue One. I don't know who the Galen.
But that was
is.
father and daughter.
Hey, you don't have to be like. You can touch foreheads if you're just really close.
We have to establish some.
Yeah, it's like a big hug.
It's a hug. Okay, so
Yeah.
so
Ahsoka and Anakin touch foreheads in Clone Wars. It says it could be this ChatGPT could be making things up.
I think they did.
So the symbolism is intimacy and trust, empathy and
Gotcha.
healing, and goodbyes or last moments. Okay, touching foreheads is a thing, I think. And evil people that are in love don't touch foreheads.
Makes sense.
There you go.
Because it's not true love.
That's right.
Speaking of not true love, we've got some bad guys that are showing up. It's sketchy right off the bat. We've got the guy to the right who's evil. Well, they're all evil, right? But very sadistic, very purpose-driven. He knows what he's there to do, and he really doesn't care about what he has to do to get it. You got the old seasoned enlisted. This is like the sergeant, right? And he's got his garrison of guys. He's got his little squad of guys that are just babies. They're young. They're kids. He even makes a comment right here. He's getting reprimanded by his superior because he says, "Well, there's not a man amongst them, but I'll do what I can." You know, it's like these aren't men. These are kids. This is how conniving and deceiving and plotting and planning all this stuff is. Everybody's unprepared for this. There's only a few people that actually know what's going on. Everybody else is just like, we've got to get people that are easily manipulated.
Yeah.
To go along with this, because
right.
Nobody
really
also knows what's going on.
The people that do know what's going on know that the people that don't know what's going on are probably going to die.
Most likely.
So you
Which
can't
comes
let
up
them in on you might die
very
in
much
this
later.
mission that you're sacrificing for nothing.
Which is pretty sad, but happens all the time in real life.
Evidently,
this was a cool scene. This is when they're on the planet and they're coming in low, and it was just a cool flying scene, kind of between the mountains. I thought that the interior of the ship was pretty cool. Just the controllers are using, to maneuver the flight sticks or whatever this is.
Yeah.
And showing off how Andor is definitely a badass pilot. So much so that he's making woman kind of nervous there. So that was a good scene. And then the very last shot of the whole freaking episode is boom, cut to black.
It was an interesting moment. He's like,
it's like,
I don't even know what he's thinking about.
Well, so they're there to kill Deidre. He's there. It's he's got his travel weapon. He's going to have to assemble at some point. To take her out, like the little sniper rifle. But that's just the way that it ends. And to me, that was one of the reasons why I thought, well, man, this is almost like an episode just establishing where we are, which I guess you have to do if you have a 1-year time jump.
It's realistic, though. Whenever you travel for work, but you're there a day early, you get to the hotel room and you're like, now what?
But usually you go to a bar or an arcade or something.
Yeah, but there's this moment, right? You sit down and you put all your stuff away and you sit on the bed and you look out the window and go, what am I even doing here?
The people that knew were on the balcony watching, absolutely.
Yeah.
Up above, knowing what was about to happen. Some of them did. I don't know that Deidre really understood exactly what was going to happen. She knew one thing. She had no control. And I think she realized that in her communication with her superior. These were not conversations back and forth with people plotting and planning. This was, you will do this. Continue your mission, and that's it. There was no discussion.
We just need to do this one evil thing, and then we'll be heroes.
If we just do this one evil thing, everything will be fine. How many times have we heard that?
Never. That's what I was going to say.
No, in movies, not you and I. I mean,
I hear you. But now it makes me wonder, because you kept on saying this is very true to life. And I mean, we don't really have evidence that this is true to life, but we all believe it happens all the time where there's this, like a false flag, or you're led to believe one thing that took place, but really there was a, puppet master behind it all.
Sure.
And, Palpatine as like the big bad enemy of a lot of these movies. That's kind of the whole thing, right? He's been behind the scene manipulating all the evil things for a very long time. And then you ask the question of like, this point of, the evil person is like, hey, we just do this one last evil thing, and then we'll be just fine. We actually get to see that conversation, but in real life, when that happens, do they? I wonder if they have that conversation. They do feel that way.
There are levels. I think just like this show is illustrating, there are levels of people that they understand what they have to do, and they don't care what they have to do to make it happen.
Like
here's our
Nazi
mission. Here's our
Germany
goal.
type stuff, maybe.
If they have to commit horrible atrocities, they're fine with it. This is the mission. I've been given permission by. What's that?
David McIntosh was not cool with it.
No, he wasn't cool with it.
Or
he left.
Surreal.
He did the right thing. Surreal. He did the right thing.
Cyril.
That's what you have, though. You have those dichotomies. You have. I think, Deidre. She's sort of in the middle of Surreal and the evil, empire.
Will
like
she
it's just
redeem
like
herself? That's the
well,
the big question.
We start with a beautiful shot, and remember the budget, $640 million. This is a great shot. But one
there
thing
is no shot like this that's bad.
No. But look at the size of the freaking building. That's the tall building is what they were building last year. That big skyscraper. That's what they were. That's what they were doing, sort of behind the scenes. I mean, could they have been a little more subtle in their armory construction? Did it have to be 5 times taller than everything else in the surrounding landscape? I'm just curious. You got to wonder. They're not really. I guess the Empire isn't really subtle. Another thing.
It reminds me of like maybe India or Abu Dhabi area. Like within the last very short period of time, those towns turned into just enormous buildings because they just got an influx of cash in the last
incredible skyscrapers and all. I guess that's true.
But I don't know if the Empire's behind those. I mean, maybe.
They could be.
Maybe there's a modern day.
We have no proof that they were actually completely 100% like extinguished. Remember, because this happens a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So they could have traveled here.
That's true.
We don't know. But one thing I do know
somehow
is
Palpatine's
somehow
he's here.
Palpatine returned.
He's returned
again. but this time we didn't have cameras, so we don't know. But one thing I do know is that if you're going to go commit some kind of crime involving a weapon, don't assemble that weapon in front of an open window that everyone can see. I mean, he's there for half an hour putting this gun together a piece at a time in full view of anyone who would just happen to peer into the window.
See, I love how your mind works because I didn't catch this at all. But you're all like, so when I was in the military,
I mean, if it was me,
one was never assembled.
Well, because what is he doing up there from that vantage point? He's looking in windows. So it's like, dude, what? I mean, you're supposed to be this spy. I mean, just close the shades. You could have had this scene with the shades drawn. A little thing and a little pet peeve.
It's a beautiful scene, though. They just needed the lighting.
They needed the lighting, and I get it, but they're losing they've lost the plot in some ways. I think that was a bit of an issue. So we go back to the notes here. So the morning, I say never assemble a weapon with the windows open. We've covered that. Empire has the documentation they need. So this was the time at which the dam is about to break, and Deidre is talking to her superior, and she's like, okay, well, we need to subtly do this. She's still in this mode of what we're trying to kind of trick and fool, and then her superior is like, no, we don't care. No, that's over. We've got enough documentation. We've got all this stuff on tape. We've got plenty of reason and evidence to say there's an uprising. Boom. Continue with the mission. Continue with this plot.
Is this a scene where her superior looks at her and says, what does he say? Are you showing emotion? Or is like...
Yeah, it was something like that. It was questioning her resolve, I think is what he was doing.
Man, I got to use that one.
That's it.
I don't think it was, are you showing emotion? But she was like she was showing emotion. I just can't remember the exact word that he said. And he called
it was
her
something
out on
about
it,
that, yeah.
and she's like, and gets
she's
all
got
like super.
she does. You know what she does? I know this is a different universe, but she does the old Jean-Luc Picard thing where she straightens her. She's trying to get the wrinkles out. She's trying to straighten up and correct her posture because it's like it's basically saying, hey, listen, are you gonna crack? Are you gonna make it? Are you gonna are you still on our side? And she's got to keep going along with it. Part of that whole deceit and the mystery, or not the mystery, but the facade that they're putting on. I wrote down this quote from one of the reporters that were on site, and and the reporter is talking about what's going on, and he talked about the inexplicable Gorman resistance to imperial norms. It's like,
great
wow.
headline.
Wow. So we just don't understand why these Gormans aren't just going along with, these are just imperial norms, guys. This is just nothing to see here. This is just status quo. And I'm like, wow. So that's the narrative. They're pushing this narrative using the media. And I mean, I think that no matter what side of the aisle you're on, you can kind of say, okay, well, I can see that that could happen. And to know that was just a level at which this was going on, all for minerals on a planet, that they wanted to be able to take without the appearance of being ruthless and cruel and an actual empire.
Minerals on a planet. What are they going to use the minerals for?
The lens for the laser. It's not going to power the laser. This is like the lens for the actual laser on the Death Star.
But Deidre said it is for power. I think it might be for power.
For power? They're powering something? Because the kyber crystals powered the laser. I thought this was needed for the lens of the laser.
Oh,
maybe to focus.
She, I think maybe she said like it's from the power budget.
Oh, I understand. Gotcha. Yeah.
I was just gonna try to make a connection. Like, is this Star Wars version of we're taking over that country for their oil?
Well, I think that's exactly what this is. They're staging some kind of revolt against the imperial norms,
right?
So that they can go in and restore order. But that basically means we're going to take all your minerals. We're gonna and we have the justification we need. When he says that, they're basically saying we have the justification we need.
Yeah.
At some point, Surreal wakes up and he starts telling people it's a trap. And there's a few people that start kind of saying, wait a minute, wait. I know he's awakened. He knows what's going on now. He's like, this is not what I was told it was. This is an absolute setup. And confronts Deidre, and this,
oh my gosh.
It gets wild. So last episode, she's kissing him to try to keep him, in the game. And in this episode, he's choking her out. I mean, it's getting wild. Fair,
like, this is not sexual assault. Like, this is just violence.
Well, to your point, they're touching foreheads. They're touching foreheads. So I think
they are touching forehead.
So I think we're good. So this is just.
But he's touching her forehead and also
her throat.
Yes,
so that's an issue there. So yeah, it gets really, really serious, really dark, really desperate, and that's one thing that this show is really doing a good job of selling is the desperation of what's going on, and the conflicting motives and or motivations of everybody involved.
What does he say?
Once again,
he says like, if you say that this is a normal thing, I can't remember what it is, I will throw you out the window.
Out the window. Oh my.
It's all justified violence because, she's about to murder millions of people. So,
and they're fictional characters.
If your girlfriend tries to murder a whole village of people, like, you can choke her.
You can. Well, yeah, this
is allowed.
It's in the Geneva Convention for sure.
That's right.
Kind of limited. A single planet had enough mineral for 2 Death Stars. That bugged me. Yeah, I guess if it's like the core of the planet, if the entire crust of the planet is embedded with this mineral, I guess. But 2 years before the Battle of Yavin, we don't have a lot of time to get that laser, lens fixed. But they have a lot of people, so I guess they're good to go. A lot of guns being pointed at people's heads, including this one, which was incredibly devious. So they're so committed to this revolt, and they're so committed. This is the Empire I'm talking about. The Empire is so committed to being justified in this that they have a sniper, their own sniper, shoot not somebody in the crowd, but one of those young, ignorant soldiers. Shoots his own man.
Yeah.
To ignite this whole thing, to start the whole thing off.
That's
I
right.
mean,
and Deidre
wow.
said proceed. So
Deidre said proceed.
there's no confusion over it was accident or no. This was staged insurrection.
It was absolutely
They
wild.
were calming down too. So they were. That's the point I was making
so
earlier.
yeah,
right?
tell that part. Yeah, exactly.
So they're chanting, which is getting all of the military people agitated because they're protesting this.
Yep.
Where they're saying, the galaxy is watching, we are Gore.
Yes.
So they're basically saying like, what you're doing is evil, and people are gonna know about this. We're good people. We're just Gore. We're Gore.
And it was a chant, but it was mildly threatening. Yeah.
Mildly threatening. But it was building up, and all of a sudden, this one person starts singing like this beautiful national anthem.
Yep.
And I really loved it because it's like,
mood
someone
changes.
sat down and wrote this music for it, and it feels like a really good like anthem you would hear from, because a lot of the American national anthem is based on a very popular song that has great melody. Other countries the same. And it has a great melody to it as well. So they're all kind of calming down, right? Like there's no issue anymore. They're all like kumbaya now. And then the insurrection.
And then that happens.
Yeah, then that happens.
Butu Duck wanted to stop by and say, hello, gents. Bit late to the show, but hot damn. 7, 8, and 9. Yep. It's there's some stuff going on. And then, of course, more guns being pointing at more people's heads. There you go. We got Andor has Deidre in his sights. He's got a bead on her. It's about to go down. It's about to get crazy.
I wasn't sure. I was like, is he going to take her out?
I thought, okay, well, to your point, we're running up to the events of Rogue One, right? So, and you're saying people are going to die. So I'm thinking, okay, well, it's just her turn to go, huh? Well,
because it
not
could
necessarily
be her, and then Surreal is all like, "You son of a,"
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna avenge her. That doesn't happen because while he's got a beat, Andor's got his laser. I guess that's a laser sight or a red dot sight. He's got it trained on Deidre. Surreal notices Andor in the crowd, loses his mind, and they have a fight that's actually pretty brutal. I mean, it was choreographed really well. And there's a lot of sound effects that really make you think that we got some bones crunching. It was a pretty good fight. And it ends with Surreal having the high ground. Right? He takes Andor's weapon and Andor's sitting down. And Andor, it was funny. Andor says, "Who are you?" Like he doesn't even know who Surreal is, even though they were both in episode 1 of the first season. And he doesn't even get to respond because in this case, the high ground didn't mean diddly squat, and he got shot by somebody else. So Surreal dies just before he's able to kill Andor.
Yeah, I was reading some articles about this. I can't really find it, but basically the actor behind Surreal had said that, yeah, he just dies, right? And you're kind of longing for more. Like, why did he have to die? And the sentiment he said was something to the effect, I was trying to find it so I could quote it, but it's something like, he's just a normal guy. That's all he is. Surreal is nobody special in the Star Wars universe. He literally was just a worker that found there's an issue in the system or whatever, and goes after Andor or whatever. The reason why you feel for him is the great character building that they did in this normal person, just average person. And then when you die, you kind of feel like it's an you're unsatisfied with his storyline, but you're like, no, that's it. He just died.
No, I agree. I see that from that point of view of wanting to see more because you did take the time to introduce his character. You did take the time to build him up. We had talked. I had assumed. I kind of hoped that he would,
Yeah.
because he's so super idealistic, he would see the flaw in the
Right.
Empire and then actually join the rebellion.
And then join.
And I thought that almost happened. But seeing Andor just send him into a blind rage, and there was, and even then, it's like, are they going to fight and then like
Right.
hug it out? Let's go touch
Well,
foreheads. And
it
then,
was a pretty epic fight, though. There
It
is
wa-
that.
no, it was.
Hand-to-hand, it was good.
it was brutal. It was
There's a
it was
lot
a
of motion
pretty
there.
brutal fight. Head slamming on the ground, going up against. I mean, it was, and yeah, exactly to your point. There was a lot of emotion because Surreal's been looking for him. He's been told that Andor doesn't exist. Deidre has been told this Andor person doesn't even exist. Why are you wasting your time trying to find this person? And there he is in the midst of all this chaos. And I'm sure he thought he's behind the whole thing, you know.
Yep.
Or maybe he finally needed that outlet to just vent and get it all out. Well, he took it to Andor, and eventually gets taken out himself. So that was
Yeah. Everybody's gotta die.
anticlimactic. Yeah, but I guess to the actor's point, yeah,
Unless he's still alive,
unless he's
maybe.
back. Unless he's back, you don't know.
Maybe he survived.
We really don't know. I did want to talk about. We're going to go back to episode 7, I think, for just 1 second, because there were 2 things that I didn't cover. Part of the whole imperial mistrust of the Senate starts to show up in little ways. The Senate, the drivers of the senators, and the liaisons of the senators, the people that work for the senators, the staff, are being told to submit schedules to the imperial guards, of all the senators. They have metal detectors, and then force healing.
Yes.
We got to go back for just a second before we go too far into 8. Before we finish up 8, go back to 7. Force healing is something that they threw in episode 9. I didn't like it. It was lame. They do work that in here as and there's someone administering it. You can tell that she's probably force sensitive, but she doesn't obviously know how to use her powers because she's not a Jedi and she wasn't necessarily trained to use the force. But she does use the force a little bit to slightly heal Andor's blaster injury.
Yeah. I think it was.
What did you think about that?
I think it was fine. They added a lot of mystery to it. They didn't answer any questions related to it. I think maybe they just wanted to continue to push the narrative of like there are force sensitive people out there,
Right.
in pockets.
Yes.
That over time learned they have these capabilities. They kind of keep it quiet.
Mhm.
Because she says, I want to thank you. And he's like, for what? And what'd she say? For the clarity?
For the clarity. Yeah.
And so, and it's been a long time since I've felt that or something like that. So I think she's, maybe she was trained at some point, but all the Jedi are dead. So she didn't complete her training. But maybe it's kind of like, it made me think that maybe some Jedis are good at some things, like almost like an X-Men. Like
No, they are. You're right. You're 100%
she
right.
can
They are.
force heal small
Yeah.
wounds.
Yeah. It's mild burns.
Right.
But she does plant a seed that comes back at the end
Oh,
when she sort of relays to Bix sort of the importance of Andor, or maybe his focus or his mission or he's got
true.
something to do. He's destined for something, for lack of a better term. So I did want to touch on that. I apologize. I skipped over that.
they
but
could have done a better job, I think, on that
yes,
scene.
seems a little bit vague.
I don't know.
I don't mind if
fine.
force healing had been established before, like in the prequels or in the original trilogy or something. If we had seen it before, I think I would be much more accepting of it. But to have it just sort of be something that popped up very, very recently, it's hard for me to not kind of roll my eyes a little bit,
Right.
But I don't think it was handled in a ridiculous way, like episode 9, where it was just sort of like, oh, hey, by the way, I can do this. She doesn't truly understand her powers, but she knows that sometimes she can heal some people. So
I could ruin it for you if you want.
yes, please.
Okay, so I'm gonna make this up. So there was a deleted scene, and
Oh, sweet.
Bix was all like, "How did you learn to do that?" She goes, "I don't know. When I was born, I had an adopted parents, but they said that there was this like father that created me, but now he's like runs the galaxy now.
Oh God.
Did I ruin it for you?
I'm Ray's sister or
Right.
cousin or
Aunt.
whatever or something. Aunt, exactly.
I'm
Oh,
Ray's
good
aunt.
God. So back to episode 8. I apologize for that slight detour, but I wanted to touch on that for sure. We go back to the brutal sea fight between Surreal and Andor that ends with Surreal getting killed by another one of the Gormans that had once trusted him. And there's some more interesting tidbits that happen after this. This whole battle's going on. People are just being slaughtered. It's a bit of a mess, and we've got some other thing we find in the next slide. I think this.
But
is
how
this
did
it?
they get slaughtered so much?
Because of all the shooting and the pew pews.
What else? Did you skip what else was hurting them?
What do you mean?
There were androids that were released.
Oh, that.
I'm sorry, I don't
No,
know
you're okay.
your
No, you're
slides,
right. You're
okay?
right. No, you're right. You're right. But that's.
Do you
go,
have
go
that
ahead.
coming up?
Well, I have. Go ahead. Because that's
Yeah, so
actually
they
a really
released
cool
the
thing.
hounds, right? So,
Yeah.
are
And
they
what are
called?
the hounds?
KX are they called? The KX androids, basically K2SO.
And no, Calvin. No, we're not talking about herpes. No, that's not where.
No.
That's not going to kill.
So, if you notice, so they got all these soldiers. They're all shooting, and they're like, release them. So they got 6 or 7 of these like droids that come out that are supposed to like control the crowd, but instead these K2SOs, there's like a whole bunch of them, start grabbing people and throwing them against walls, and just instantly killing them.
Very, very brutal.
Yeah.
Very, very brutal. It's utter chaos. So you're right. So there is a point, I think, where we have kind of like a little tipping point where all of a sudden the Gormans, I'm not calling them rebels, the Gormans are they're fighting back. They're killing a lot. There's some bombs going off, taking out several stormtroopers at a time. And then at some point they say, okay, we got to open up the doors, send out the robots. And when they do that, they're just swatting people like. And it's just horrible. They're flying up against the wall, and it's
filmed
chaos.
very well, because another one of those things where it feels like a movie. No one flies in the air in a way that looks like Spider-Man 2001 era, right?
Or they just sort of disappear off camera or something, and it's just implied something bad happened to them. No, you see within the full frame
towards the camera and just is like, yeah, I'm dead.
Yeah,
it's a little gruesome, but like
didn't make it.
It was shot very well.
Gruesome in the way that it probably should be, to illustrate how bad this was, and this is definitely sort of billed as like this point at which people galvanized around and they woke up, or they continued to just be sheep, and they were like, no, this can't happen. It all starts to fall apart. We have Surreal has died. There's Imperials dead, Stormtroopers dead, Gorman's dead. It's still very chaotic. We're getting towards the end of this episode, and Deidre's she's just gone, and she just breaks.
She did good as an actress. When her right hand started shaking, and she literally grabs it because she can't. I was like, I'm sold. She's flipping out.
Yeah, she absolutely. The actress, you're right. She kills it. You can see that she doesn't just fall apart. She's breaking. She's shaking, grabbing that hand, like you said. Stand up, straighten yourself, adjust your posture, and then fail again. And she cannot. She's trying, but she cannot keep it together. I don't know. I just thought that it was just like her character has just had a great arc.
Freaking Andor. They're making us like care. I'm looking back like I care about Deidre.
I know. And
right?
she was cold and cruel and calculating. But this season, they've shown us little chinks in the armor. Like I'm sorry, towards the end of last season, we see her and Surreal kind of have a little connection. Then we find out they're actually living together. So she kind of loves him and kind of goes to bat for him to Surreal's mom. Like she's got some real qualities there, and then you see her
all of that was just building up
and
so well.
And she's not buying into every single thing that's coming down the pipe, right? All the orders. She's not just swallowing them without any question. She is struggling with them, and she's trying to maintain. So yeah, so you're absolutely starting to kind of like feel for her, and scenes like that just drive it home. It just really did. So I was,
And the line was very realistic. Like if you've been in an argument with someone, well, you didn't mind when you got promoted. That's what she said. Because she's all like, what you're doing is terrible, and she's like, well, you're in on it, by the way.
Exactly. You didn't get that mad at all those promotions, and it was. You can tell she was losing the arguments. She was trying to say, well, she couldn't justify her own actions, so she just tried to rope him in as well. You're just as bad as me. There is a bit of a clash. This was pretty cool. We see this like transport come in. Of course, you got another KX or KN. I forget the name. I forget the model. K2SO is the specific robot we're
the caption
gonna see.
called them KX.
KX.
And the moment that one it says is K2SO.
Yeah, that's K2SO, which was his like his serial number, but the model number would be like the KX. Pretty cool. He's coming up on Andor. They're swinging, slaughtering people left and right. This truck comes in and just cuts him. Just cuts him in half, and you're like, "Wow, that was crazy," And then you're like, "Well, I bet there's going to be something there." Sure enough, there is something there.
I was hoping. That is right? K2. Come on.
That is K2. He's like, "Hey, so we're going to have Willem and Andor split up, but before you go, he's like, hey, can you help me?
One more favor.
Can you help me put this? One more favor. And then you see they throws the Imperial droid in the actual truck, and he's going to take off. He's going to take it back to Yavin and get them all fixed up. And that ends that episode 8. Final thoughts on episode 8 before we get to the final.
Best
9.
episode so far because it, if you, again, what I was saying before, we work backwards. You have A New Hope. We know about that. Now we learn about Rogue One, what it took for them to get the information. And then now we're starting to see the insurrection is the thing that really kickstarted the rebellion. And so this is like I said earlier, if there's only one episode of Andor that you're going to watch, this is the one. I mean, there's still 3 more, so maybe the other 3 are going to be amazing. But there's a key episode because it's the spark that ignites, everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a spark that kicks everything off. It makes people decide. It's something it's the inciting incident. It's the okay, we've been going along and there's been subtext and I don't like this and I don't like that, but they haven't gone too crazy until this happens. We kick off episode 9 with something else. We have the Gorman representative, the Gorman senator is being hauled off to jail. Here we go. It's not just started, but it's in full swing now, and they're putting their plan in action in full view of everybody, locking up senators. Here we go. This is how it goes, right?
Yeah.
Going to the next slide real quick. So,
only in a galaxy far, far away.
Only in a galaxy far, far away. Would never happen here. Great shots of the actual Senate. Bail Organa. This is substitute Bail Organa. Timu Bail Organa. It's I don't like. I still don't like the fact that
because you're like, if I'm right, like I'm supposed to. I could be wrong because again, I'm a big Star Wars fan, but I'm not a Star Wars YouTuber. That's like Leia's father, stepdad,
adopted father. Yep.
Okay,
yep.
So when I'm looking at him talk, I'm like, he's gonna go home and hang out with Leia and be like, "You joined the rebellion, right?" Like,
yeah.
But it's hard because you're like, but that's not the dude in the other movies.
That's not the dude in the movie. That's not the dude in Rogue One because Jimmy Smith reprises his role in Rogue One.
Right.
So if you were to watch Andor and Rogue One like we're supposed to, there's going to be a jarring switch.
Right.
And I understand they needed Bail Organa. They needed him in this. I get it. But I really wish they could have figured out a way to make this work because, I mean, come on, $640 million. You couldn't have done something.
Yeah.
But I guess you can't be in everything. I guess you can't win them all. But some good shots inside, and I just kind of bring this back up. Some of these shots were really good of everybody kind of in the Senate and the cityscape on the outside there. I just thought that was really cool. Coming to a head. everything that happened in Gorman is now at the Senate, and Mon Mothma can't. She just can't. She can't say nothing any longer. So she wants to give a speech. Bale's like, they're never going to let you go up there. So he knows he's going to have to relinquish the floor because they're in a state of an emergency based on some other stuff that some other senators have said. That's the plan. She's going to get there and she's going to give a speech. That's the big thing going on in this episode. Speech writing and speech delivery. What are your thoughts so far?
It's pretty good. We get, they do a lot of build up. She kind of was filibustering. It's like, couldn't she just come out there and be like, Palpatine's behind this?
Yeah.
You start with the punch, right?
Lead with that. Yeah.
I gave a presentation at work the other day, and I led with, I didn't do a 30, because it was a 30-minute meeting where I'm explaining a new technology that we're going to build inside we're going to switch to in our app. And I started the meeting with, every piece of code in the app that uses this feature is going to be deleted in the next 2 years. And everyone's shocked. And I'm like,
what?
We're moving away from this primary thing that you do every single day. And everyone was like, what? And I'm like, I'll explain. I got their attention, right? And then
that's a good way to
they
do it.
asked a lot of great questions and all that. But it's fine. It's Star Wars. It's a TV show. You want to get more watch time. I get it. So you're like, I'm going to talk and I'm going to explain all this stuff and it's going to build up. And then they're going to go disconnect the cable, but then the door is locked. And so they're running upstairs to get the security key. And then they come down and she's like, and the person that's behind this is Palpatine.
And they kill it right after she said that.
She said that like 2 minutes ago.
You don't want to bury the lead. You want to go. And yes, Fist of Love. Why not? Yeah, CGI the face.
Organa?
For Bail Organa. Why not? Yeah. Why not? Just have a stand-in actor and just freaking do it. I mean, $640 million. Why not? They could have just green screened him on the set of the other movie he was doing and just superimpose him. I mean, come on. Make magic. Make magic.
I just want to know, what other movie is this guy doing? That
I don't know what's bigger than Star Wars.
Right, right?
I mean, a role you've had since
we have to look it up. We got to call 97. Him out on this.
Was he? I'm trying to think. Was he in?
Let's boycott this actor.
Was he in episode 1? I can't remember if he was in episode 1. I know he was in episode 2 and 3.
Okay, so Jimmy Smith, right? Smith. What movie were you so it was so
What's
important
so
for you?
Big you can't be bothered to go do the Star Wars thing?
He was in Obi-Wan Kenobi. He was in...
Yes, he's been in everything.
Yeah.
He did the voice work for his appearance in the Clone Wars and in Rebels. I mean, he's...
Yeah.
Dude.
Okay,
it's almost like you don't even shoot the... You don't even do the show until he's free.
He was in Revenge of the Sith, right?
Yep. He was in Clone Wars.
Upcoming. Dexter? I guess he's filming one episode in Dexter. He was so busy he had to do Dexter.
Come on. What did you think about this? The
he
Tron
literally
set?
did nothing in 2024.
I don't know what he was doing.
Look, according to IMDb,
was he directing or something?
He was Obi-Wan Kenobi in 2022, right. 3 episodes.
Yep.
Then he's on East New York TV show for 21 episodes. Okay, that's fair. Between 2022 and 2023, he's Assistant Chief John something. 21 episodes. And then he's in 1 episode of Dexter Resurrection. So he was busy on this East New York, which I've never heard of the show. So therefore, it doesn't matter. Have you ever heard of it?
No, and I guarantee you they didn't have a bigger budget. So, I mean, come on. You can't tell me that.
It's
what
CBS.
Did you think?
He's like, I'm locked up with CBS.
It's
Paramount
CBS
right now.
It's okay. So that's not Disney. Disney is ABC, right? So there was probably some sort of contractual thing where he was prohibited from doing both. I guess.
Maybe.
What did you think about the Tron set?
I didn't catch that.
This was a security room where they're talking about, hey, we have all these listening devices, and Mon Mothma finds the listening device and breaks it. This is the security headquarters or the control room where they have all these discussions talking about it.
I saw this scene, but I didn't think of Tron. But yeah, I guess so. I
thought
like
Electron.
they still use 4x3 monitors, right?
Yes, they do. I love
You
that.
see it? See,
I love that.
a whole bunch of
They're
them.
they're still
Do,
doing
do
that,
you think
which
they're
you have to.
16x9, but they boxed them in?
I think they probably did. I think that because Unico doesn't have a better website. If Unico had a better website, they would have been, they would have supplied all the monitors for Andor. I think that they missed. they missed
Galaxy's Edge, there's a whole bunch of 4x3.
yeah, but they're probably just cropped, right? They
Yeah,
just
I
have
think
bezels,
they
plastic
have
bezels
bezels
snapped
over it,
over them.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a damn shame. Damn shame. Oh, Unico, you could have done so much more, so much more. And then we have the point where what's going on here? I'll remove that. There we go. We have the point where she's finally able to give her speech. And while this is going on, before the speech, you have Luthen showing up. The plan is to, okay, we got to get, as soon as Mon Mothma makes this speech, we got to get her out of there.
Yeah.
So Bail Organa has some people. He's going to go, hey, I'll send my people to come get you. And then Luthen says, don't do that. Bail Organa's team is corrupt, or somebody on the team is corrupt. I'm going to send somebody. He ends up sending Andor. So now you have all these people that are trying to get her out of there as soon as she makes her speech. And this is where it's just like, okay, so this is the episode. So the reaction to Gorman is a senator is going to make a speech. And then the stressful situation is that we got to get her out of there. But it's not stressful because we know that she makes it because she's in everything else. It's
That's interesting. I didn't
because
sit there and think, well, I know she's going to survive.
This is a problem I have with prequels in general, is that you can't have all your tension wrapped up in characters we absolutely know are going to live and be just fine. If she was in A New Hope and and she's missing arms and she's all messed up, or it's like, oh wow, what happened? What happened? Then you would see the tension. Oh my God, something's going to happen to her. Oh, how is she maimed in the original trilogy? What happens? No, we see her in the original trilogy and she's fine. There's nothing wrong with her. So we know she makes it without a scratch, basically. So a lot of the tension isn't really there. And the only one that really is involved in her rescue or her escape is Andor. All the other characters we don't really know. So if they die, they're just like cannon fodder. So if that's the crux of your whole episode, this is where it sort of begins to fall flat for me. I understand that she wants to make this, and the speech is important and all that, but I'm not stressed out. I know she's going to be just fine.
I guess I didn't have enough time to think about it. I think normally I think of that when that was taking place. I think I was just like maybe thinking she'd still be caught, like she could be arrested, we know she gets out of, she's free eventually, but you don't want her arrested, and they're trying to take her and muzzle her and quiet her up.
Right.
And that this is gonna, and then there was other tension, like, their escape route failed. So now they have to go this other way. And they're being surrounded, and I guess I was, and then when they see I don't know what your next slide is. Maybe I'm getting to it. When they see the driver, you're like, oh, is the driver a good guy? And I'm thinking in my head, they're gonna approach the driver and be like, is your loyalty with me or is your loyalty with the Empire, right? But no, that's not how it happened. Because Han shot first.
He absolutely did. They're about to make their escape and get out of there, and then the driver shows up, and I think this is probably when Mon Mothma gets her first taste of, like, this is definitely like Welcome to the Rebellion,
Yeah.
And I think somebody says that to her earlier in this episode, but this is it. Like we're not even gonna think. Andor's just gonna shoot somebody in cold blood right there in front of you, because this is where you're at. These are the stakes. This is the world you're in. This is, hey, there's no turning back.
No time. He said that earlier, and they kind of said that because there was like there was guns drawn.
Yep.
And there was the one person that was, I couldn't really follow that part of the storyline, but I think it was the lady that he kills.
Yeah,
she was reporting she was supposed to be a rebel.
She was on Bail. I think she was on Bail Organa's You're talking about that one? The one was
But
on
she
Bella.
was getting information back to the
Yes.
Empire, right?
Yes, she was.
So she was like a double agent or something.
Yeah, and she killed one of the other people on Bail Organa's crew. That there were 3 people. She killed one of the guys, and then later up meets up with the third guy, and yeah, so they have a little miniature shootout there.
But then there was at that point there was, he just kills her and he says, "There's no time," right? Like,
Yeah,
I think he's saying like, "I'm gonna shoot," and this is what I started thinking. He has to protect her.
Yes.
And so he's going to do anything. And then when this scene came up, I rewound it because I was like, that was fast and epic. And he says, "We found her. We found her. We found her."
It was so messed up. He's like, what's his name? What's your driver's name? And she tells him. He's like, hey, look, we found her. And then just sort of to throw him off guard, and then just bam, nothing. And then he's just like, come on, take my hand. Let's go.
Yeah, and that's when I thought, he's like, he can't take a chance with this guy at all. She's too important.
No, it's at this
he just
point
has to kill the guy.
Nope. There's no more. I guess it's like the same mentality that the Empire had with Gorman. Okay, we're done. We're done with the cloak and dagger stuff. We're done with the illusion. No more time. We're not going to mess around. We're going to goof around. We're going to shoot first and not even ask questions later. We're just going to go. And that's where they're at. And it's the rebellion. BBY 2 is not only full on, but fully acknowledged. Basically, is that this is it. Bail Organa kind of being the last one, covertly still in the Senate because he knows he has to be.
Yep,
it's pretty wild. Pretty wild. Speaking of pretty wild, was this. So, I don't know how you feel about this. Before this scene, if you haven't seen the show, he finally gets back after all this craziness and Mon Mothma. He's not even going to get the credit for rescuing Mon Mothma. They're going to do some other kind of thing. So he's not even going to be acknowledged in this whole escape plan thing. He makes it back to Bix. They touch foreheads, as always. And then he says, "I'm done. I've done enough for the rebellion. I'm done. We are going to get out of here." And she's listening, and she's not sure how she's taking it, but she loves him, and so they go to bed. Next morning, he wakes up. She's not there. She has left him a message. She is gone because she's choosing the rebellion, and she knows she has to do that so that he'll just stay with the rebellion. He won't leave with her because she's not there, and he'll stay with her. How do you feel about this?
I liked it. We know I was thinking she has to die, right? And then it was emotional. It was almost like she did die because we know Andor dies. So she's saying goodbye to him. And unless she's somehow back in the next few episodes, if I was writing this, I would be kind of like, no, that's it. This is her last scene. Because you would spoil it if you they get back together. No. She says goodbye. Great. She doesn't have to die. It's kind of a little twist because you're thinking everyone's going to die. And then you can just live life thinking that she separated herself from him, hoping that we would win. The rebellion would win. We know we do. We know the rebellion does win. And somehow she's clearly going to find out that he sacrificed himself for them to win. She'll mourn. We'll never get to see that. But it is what it is. What do you think?
So I understand the emotionality and I understand the weight of it because there's definitely a lot of weight to it.
You're going to do that thing, Fox, aren't you? Where you're like, this was lame.
I hate it. No, it wasn't lame. I hated it. I understand how a person could make the decision. I understand how the decision could have been made. I understand motives, character motives.
Are you going to say stand by your man? What are you going to say?
It's realistic, I didn't think it was necessarily lame. I thought it was the absolute wrong decision because you should stand by your man. Because after all he has gone through, story-wise, it should have been him that tells her we can't be together because I have to see this through. I don't know why they couldn't just give him that win and let him make that decision, because you would still accomplish the same goal. She would love him enough to either stay or move on or whatever. She obviously can't, to your point, she can't really stay because, she's not in, Rogue One. So maybe she could have gone back to join her family or live with her family or whatever. But they looked at each other and they knew that he was doing the right thing. But instead, she traps him. She just leaves him completely. And now he's left. He doesn't know where she is. So now his motivations are kind of, there's some of the shine is rubbed off, because now, well, I guess he just stayed there because, well, I got nothing else to do. And I know it's not that flippant, but what they have gone through, it should have gone down that way. He should have made the choice, but now the choice was made for him, and I thought that was very unfair. I didn't like it,
but I think it
like
lines up with the Rogue One Andor. Like at a certain point, you have to. It's like in Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3, it's a prequel, so they have to do things that make the character line up with the next one. And you've once said you disliked how, like, what's his name, Obi-Wan and Darth Vader do see each other in the Obi-Wan series, because then it doesn't line up with A New Hope, because the line, when we last met, I was a master, so it doesn't really line up, because it was like, hey, you met like 10 years ago, right?
Exactly.
Not 20 years ago. But with this one, I think Andor, I don't think there's any saying in it, but Andor, I think in Rogue One is like suffered a loss. Because he wasn't like, Jen Erso was not his like love interest.
Correct. Yes.
When he had his arm around her, and maybe this is because I knew he loved Bix already at this point, because we saw that a few years ago. His arm around, they were just friends that were dying together, and then they were showing slightly more extra affection because they're
right. They're not making out or anything like that. It's not. No. Yeah, they were touching foreheads though, and that's.
It's okay to touch foreheads. We've learned that, right? Like
that's
even
right.
fathers and
father
daughters
and son. Gotcha.
I
understand that in real life this decision could have been made, but the way she frames it, she says, I'm choosing the Empire. Not the Empire. She's the rebellion. I'm choosing the rebellion. So I'm leaving so that you're forced to stay there and continue doing this. So what's better? Your wife dies, and that's how you lose her, and you have to deal with that horrible, horrible loss. Or one day your wife looks at you and says, I don't love you anymore, and I'm leaving because I don't love you anymore.
I hear you. However, neither of them know that Andor is going to die in Rogue One. So he's like, crap, she's leaving me all alone, forcing me, and now I still do have motivation. I just got to go win the battle, and then I can live happily ever after with my girl. So it works. His motivation is there. He's not distraught like everyone's saying. He's like, crap, I'm not going to see her for a while until we win this war. So I'm going to go bust it out, and I'm going to win this war, which he does in the next 2 years. He just dies in the battle.
Which is exactly my point. She knows how dangerous. She knows how dangerous this is.
We've seen Rogue One. She hasn't.
Exactly. Exactly. Whether we, because we have the foresight of the future knowledge of him dying or living, either one, right? She has no idea. So what is better, to stay with him and to encourage him and to keep him on that path, or to just leave and hope he just stayed? What if he freaks out and steals a ship and just spends the next 2 years trying to find Bix and doesn't do anything with the rebellion?
Also, I'm going to go on your side for a second, because also, how about instead of her not saying anything, think about this. How many times have you, Fox, gone to your wife and you said, I've been thinking about this for months. I have this plan, and we're going to do A, B, C, and D, and then it's going to be amazing. And your wife, because this is why we get married, we are partners, and it's why having a family is so amazing. You go to your wife, you explain, we're going to do A, B, C, and D. And then she goes, that sounds pretty cool. What if we did this other thing instead? And then you're like, hadn't thought of that.
Yep.
And your
Yep.
entire plan changes around this idea and suggestion. Because it's like good marriages are where you're both trying to help each other be the best version of yourself. And you'll come up with all these ideas, and your wife will be like, no, like, and sometimes I've seen it in the chat, like, you know, why can't you do this? And people are like, oh, because my wife would say no. Maybe, or maybe your wife actually has really good advice. And
Yes.
if you lean into that a little bit more, maybe you'll end up being a better person in the long run.
Because she's not just the one wagging the finger saying no. She could be saying, listen, I think this would be a better use of our time,
Yeah, here's a better path,
resources, whatever.
and I'll help you with it.
So let's rewrite the scene.
Yeah,
To where I
rewrite the
think
scene.
you and I
She was silent, so she wasn't a good wife. So what should she have said to motivate him?
here So you're right. You're right on the path. She is silent. She's letting him talk. She's letting him vent.
just listening.
Get it out. Listening. And then he's done. And then she looks in his eyes. And she says, do you want to raise children in this world? Do you want to see our family grow in this galaxy under this oppression? I mean, what's the plan? We leave, we go away, we hide for a while, we start a family. Do you want them to grow up in this? Do you want your sons to... And then
Every man
Much
in
to
the
your
world
point.
would be like, you're right.
you're right.
You're so right. I wasn't seeing it.
You're right. I was short-sighted. I was only looking at, the right now. I wasn't really thinking about it all the way,
And then she says, you're not lucky. You're amazing.
Right. Right.
Maybe there's a reason why you keep on living.
Do you want to look at our future children and tell them the story of how you ran away?
Yeah.
You didn't see it through. I mean,
How about
she
let's
could
finish
have done
this,
so.
and
Yes.
then we all, not only do you live happily ever after, and we
Yep.
live happily after, all of Gorman people that survived live happily ever after, and this planet,
Exactly.
they must be stopped.
This matters.
And
This
you're a
matters to
captain
us, and this matters to our children, our generations. This matters, and it refocuses
Yeah.
his priorities, because obviously his priorities are Bix and her and loving her and starting a family and all this stuff. So instead of looking at what he's personally sacrificing for this rebellion, look at what he's sacrificing it for. And she helps him refocus. And
Telling
boom, now they're together. Now, how do you explain? We still have 2 years. She is his galvanizing focus. In the next 2 years, she dies because of, it's a rebellion. And then that explains why he runs headlong into a suicide mission. He doesn't care. She's gone. But the last thing she said, and fill in the blank. She
There you
wanted
go.
me to do this. She
Yeah, and
wanted
then
me to.
yeah, they could have taken some line that's in Andor that he keeps on saying to people, and
Yeah.
it's like she's the one who said it to him.
She's the one that said it to him.
That'd been fine.
I'd
I'd be good with that.
I think that would have been better. I think her
Fox's
just leaving.
Andor is better than Disney's.
Thank you. Boom. Boom. and I will not ask for
Just
a commission
small,
check.
small tweak.
It is a small thing, because you've done so many things right. To me, I was like, I understand the decision. I understand that decision could have been made by a real person in the real situation. And I didn't think it was far-fetched, but I do just think that was the wrong decision. I think the way you and I just put it, I think that would have been better.
Also,
I think
there's
that would've
all
been
this talk about like, the man's the hero, or
Mm-hmm.
we need women to be the hero. And how about marriage wins, right?
How about that?
How about
How
that?
about a
I've
true
never seen
partner?
I've never seen a movie where it's like,
Yeah.
hey, there's a back and forth, and then they come up with a better idea, and then they reflect on it and say, because I've said this to my wife so many times, I'm sure you have too, I would not be the man I am today if it wasn't for you.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
They are your balance. They are your other part that helps you get through life. And what a great thing to have Andor accomplish all these things and acknowledge her and know her is the reason why.
Right.
And this is what, if you, any real life hero will tell you the same freaking thing.
That's right.
They had somebody in their life that helped them stay on the path, that encouraged them, that helped them focus. And that is why they were able to accomplish all these great things.
That's right.
And I think that would have been probably the better way to go. But hey, it is what it is. Last shot, last scene.
That was good.
That was pretty cool.
Great sound effects.
Yep.
I watched this also
Yep.
a few times. I rewound it again because it was like, and there's all this like,
And
they really like
Yeah.
made this a big moment. And I thought about it, like they put it in your face that this is K2SO.
Oh, yeah.
And they could have just made it this kind of like, yeah, you know, Easter egg over here. That's where they pick them up.
Subtle
right?
thing.
They
Yeah,
made it
yeah.
an epic scene. Even the whole like, you need to stand back. He's like, turn it on.
Yeah.
You're not gonna tell me what to do.
Don't tell, just let's go. You know.
Yeah, I loved all of
Yeah.
it.
I thought that was
What'd you
good.
think?
This was yeah, this is cool. I thought it was everything you just said. It was so cool. It was a great. You could have just, like you said, had him in a corner and he just gets switched on. Oh, we reprogrammed him. Everything's fine. This is like a Frankenstein kind of moment, almost like, you know, Revenge of the Sith. Whenever you see, you know, Darth Vader coming out of that chair, and it's
Yeah.
more, it's like that
Little bit,
Frankenstein moment. This is sort of the same thing. His body's surging, the electricity. You're not sure what's going to happen. Of course, we are kind of sure because we know. But
Well,
still, there's
this
that
is-
tension.
This is kind of his best friend turning on,
Yeah.
right? Because this is his sidekick. This is his if he's Han Solo, this is his Wookiee, right? What's his name?
Yeah, this is Chewbacca. This
Chewbacca.
is this is his Chewbacca. Basically, it's a great analogy, and we know, of course, K2SO. I mean, everybody that watched Rogue One, they
Right.
always talk about he was the voice actor's great.
Yeah.
You know, the personality, the fact that he does sacrifice himself at the end of the movie. I mean,
So
it's a pretty
is,
endearing android.
this is the Millennium Falcon
There you go.
turning on, right?
Yeah, basically.
Is that
Coming
is
to
that-
life.
Wait. Is that the same? Is that the same? Now I forgot.
What?
Because that's a Solo. That's a different android, right?
For
Yeah. It's
what android? What are we
different,
talking
right?
about?
Oh, I was thinking this is the same. For a moment, I got lost there. Right. So
Yeah.
in Solo, the movie,
Yes.
There's
Solo,
a
a Star Wars story.
different
Yeah.
robot, right?
No, you're right. There was that.
That
yeah.
becomes
That becomes the A or
yeah.
the artificial intelligence of the Millennium Falcon.
This
Yes,
is
I see. I'm
just
sorry. I see what you're saying. Yep, you're
Yeah,
right. You're
so
right.
This is K2SO that kills it in all of Rogue One.
Absolutely. So yeah,
Critical to the mission.
absolutely critical to the mission. A great part of the movie. Really cool. Fan favorite, obviously. J Rod says, "You mean like all the commercials where the guy is on an overnight and an idiot, and the wife is a smart one?" I think he's talking about all the commercials where the guy is stupid and the wife is smart. And I think you can have both. You can have a very capable, competent man who can't quite put it together until his wife is there to give him that advice. You can have the two. You know, women tend to take care of us, and they do a pretty damn good job of it.
That's right.
Rebuilt robot is Terminator.
It's Terminator.
And Fist of Love says, "I like it when K2SO wakes up and says he's a leaf on the wind." I like when he wakes up and he looks over at Andor, who's got a blaster trained on him. He's like, "If I've insulted you, or offended you, I do apologize."
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
J-Rod meant overweight. So the
Oh,
guy is
overweight.
overweight and an idiot, and the wife's the smart one. Relatively speaking, yes. But to your point, Fox, I agree with that.
Yeah.
My brother's the same way, where he's by himself. He's a great person. His wife is a great person. Together, they're a dynamic duo. They've done an amazing
Super
things
people.
together. Like,
Yeah.
just off the top of my head, she runs a business that. So she, for her point of view, she always wanted to make like an antique store, but she never really had
Okay.
like the motivation to do it. And then he always wanted to make a guitar store, but he kept on pushing for this guitar store. And she was like, "Fine, I'll help you." And then once there was a store that they were running together, she totally turned it into an antique store. And I watched this kind of happen in real time. because my brother wants to spend more time in the studio and recording. So it kind of worked out. So in
Yeah.
Des Moines, there's this place called Hank's Fuzzy Guitar and Furniture. And that's my sister-in-law's business. That when you go into
Makes
it,
sense.
it's an antique store.
It makes
But
sense.
it has, I think there's a couple guitars hanging up.
It's
but
solely a guitar store
anyway.
with some antiques. Sure,
Yeah.
buddy. Yeah,
But
sure.
but she loves what she's doing, and I know that them working together, they kind of made that happen. It's just a small example. I thought it's funny because it's the hesitation of both of them created a name that doesn't make any sense, but now it's like cherished. And then it's called Hanks because that's the name of their son, which is also really family.
Which is also a
oriented
great
and
example
cute.
of two people coming together and making something pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Kids are pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Kids are pretty awesome. So, I think that's all the notes that I had. Oh, and there was another thing, a very important thing I wanted to bring up. Andor and Bix have a house before Bix leaves it. When he wakes up, we have this emotional scene of trying to find Bix. There's no door on their house. Did you notice that? There's
Show
a
the
big
picture
circle.
again?
There's no door.
Do you have a picture?
I don't have a picture of it actually. I forgot
this
to take
is
a picture
in
of it. This is-
yes. They're
Yeah,
in Yavin.
They're on Yavin, and he wakes up and he's looking around the house to find her.
It's
And
like
there's a
Hawaii,
big
man.
circle. You're right. You're right. You're
The
right.
weather
So
is good, and if anyone, they don't need to lock the door because if anyone gets in the area, they're all dead.
they're all dead. It doesn't matter. We're all friends here, or we're all rebels here, I guess. So, other than that, doors notwithstanding, I think we've covered everything. Final thoughts on episodes 7 through 9.
Yeah, I think we both agreed that 7 is a little weak.
Yeah.
They they could have trimmed that up a little bit, but they saved all the good stuff for 8 and 9.
Yep.
I got to watch it again. It's that good. I think some people in the chat were like, is it worth getting a subscription? Next week is 3 more episodes. No, it's like 2, I think. And then the week after that is just 1 episode.
Is the finale? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
If you're into binging, then, wait until it's all over.
Probably. Yeah.
I think so.
Um,
I think it's worth watching. If you like, I think we've said this a million times, right? If you like Rogue One and kind of how Rogue One is kind of a spinoff, if you will, of it's not really the Skywalker story, but it leads into the Skywalker story. If you kind of like that over Solo, maybe.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people do. Then this is the prequel to the prequel, or you know what I mean.
If it makes sense, it all just
And if you were to binge both seasons,
that'd be cool.
I think it'd be pretty epic.
You could do that and then just take that right into Rogue One. And that would be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Which is totally what we need to do.
I think we should probably do that. Yeah. And I think so. I mean, so far, 7 is probably the filler episode. Not a bad episode. I can't really.
It's just beautiful.
Say it's just kind of a filler. It's connective to. I mean, every time you do a time jump, you kind of have to do kind of a recap of where everyone is sort of at. I like how they sort of show you. They don't really tell you. There's no big exposition dump where you're like,
That's right.
here is what has happened in the year. It's you just sort of figure it out.
Yeah.
And I like that. But I will say, I think my biggest criticism, looking back at all of it now, if you look at the episodes 1 through 9, $640 million. Where's the giant space battles? Where's that big epic thing? Where's that? I mean, you could have fit that into one of these episodes. There should have been something.
They had it in some of the previous ones, good flight scenes. I'm guessing this set of episodes, they spent it all on the insurrection scene. It's a lot.
So.
There's a lot of people. I don't think it's
lot going on
CGI.
there.
I think there's a lot of extras, a lot of coordination.
That's true.
There's
true.
a lot of shots from a lot of different angles that show all the set. They had to build all of that set, and it all looks very real.
It looks good, yeah.
Like it doesn't look
definitely
like
looks
just like a facade and like, oh, that's a fake building. It all looks like real buildings. Very
Mandalorian-ish, yeah.
When those episodes where they're facing off and Mando is like hiding inside it, I think it's better than that, actually. Mando.
No, I think
it's better, well done.
I think so. I think
bigger budget.
the effects are you can see it. I mean,
Yeah.
you're right. To your point, you can absolutely see it. The effects are there. Production value is high, but I'm still kind of waiting. Like, if we look back at all the episodes, what's that one like thing? I mean, we had season 1, we had Luthen, and we see the capabilities of his ship and how awesome that is.
Yeah.
You know, where he has the lightsabers kind of come out and, you know, and he launches all those little things that tear up the radar dish on the Star Destroyer, and you're like, whoa, and then he just takes it. You're like, wow.
You know what they should have done? A car chase scene when she was leaving.
They could have
really extended that.
You tighten up episode 7, and then you heard the escape is much more elaborate.
Yeah.
Like, and then they're trying to get off planet. How many times have we seen that in Star Wars? They're trying to get off planet, but there's a Star Destroyer. How are we going to get out? You know, how are we going to outmaneuver them? Something. We have Luthen come back. Maybe some other super secret. Maybe. Oh, you know, here's what they should have done. The TIE Avenger comes back.
Oh.
This is how we needed it, as a super secret high-speed escape vehicle. You know, but it's like repainted, reflagged as like Rebellion or
but
something.
a very like last minute. You think they're dead, they're cornered, they got it, and then but who's flying it?
Yeah,
Organa maybe, I don't know.
Or no, maybe maybe that's their escape vehicles. Actually, the Avenger.
It's parked somewhere, and they
they have to. They use her driver's car,
and then they go into space, and then they're battling out there.
And then it's like, you got a full blown TIE fighter, and you see how this would have been so cool, because then you could see how Andor is an excellent pilot of it now.
Oh,
whereas in the beginning he didn't even.
A couple years have gone by. He read the manual.
Exactly, he was going backwards. It was all messed up. Now he's an expert, you know, and he's a kick-ass TIE fighter pilot, and it would have just been crazy, and it just like a CGI fest of him just wrecking shop on, you know, just outmaneuvering other TIE fighters, because this is the prototype TIE fighter, you know, taking out a Star Destroyer, or just wrecking shop, you know. And then him and Mon Mothma is there, because remember in The Force Awakens you had the 2-seater TIE fighter, remember? So there's, you know, you had Poe in front and Finn in the back. You could have had Andor in the front, and she can you imagine Mon Mothma? She's like, oh my god,
she's all scared.
Yeah, she's all freaked out.
She has a pampered life and all
that. Yeah, she's not been a fighter, you know, like an
she's
X-wing.
Trying to put her seatbelt on. She's like falling all around.
Whoa, you just turned it into a comedy. It's like, whoa, but no, that would have been absolutely great to see her reactions to this, making her more of a battle-hardened leader. So when you do see her in the original trilogy, you're like, she's been around. She's got some stuff done. She's seen some stuff.
And then they start slowing down, and she's like, "Can you turn the radio on?" And he turns it on. It's rave music.
It just plays John Williams music.
No, I was thinking of the previous episode. She's like, "I got to get my dance
on
and get drunk."
She's in the back just doing shots. Have the actual thing come down. Again. Yeah, because that was great the first time. Have the actual orb come out of the ceiling for some reason, like a little.
That for sure is the worst scene.
I agree 100%. That was weird. Mothra? Like a Godzilla crossover? That would be great. I love that.
You should Photoshop that and tweet it and be like, Mothra.
Mothra. What? And then somehow, like, Godzilla has a lightsaber or something. That'd be great. Goofyfoot says that the costumes and wardrobes are great. I laugh at the only one alien species per scene. That is funny. It's all humans with that token alien in the back somewhere. Yeah,
right.
There should be a lot more aliens. They're all humans and some droids, and yeah, I kind of agree. But no, I think overall it's a good season. I'm anxious to see what these last 3 episodes really show us, and unfortunately we're gonna have to wait, because next week I have to travel for work, so we may have to postpone it a week, and which is good. That'll give us some time to have a good watch and figure out exactly how we feel about everything.
If it's a 1 week full week, then it's like we just have one more episode where it's all 3, right? Because I think next week you only get 2, right?
I think so,
And then
because
finale.
depending on the website you go to, I think I just did like a quick Google search and it said all 3 are coming out next week. I don't think that's
Oh,
right.
is
I
it?
think it's, well, that's, I don't know. I don't know if that's correct.
Could
I
be.
couldn't imagine. I don't know.
I
Let me
think
see
we
real-
heard it from someone in the chat that.
Well, the first, yeah, our first show, I was awakened to a lot of things. Like, I'm like, what?
I do
didn't
like
even-
that they're doing this because
This is cool. Yeah.
The season 1 they released the first 2 episodes if I remember correctly,
Yes.
and then there was a third one,
And then it was
us
one
realizing
episode.
that it was a wave of 3,
Mhm.
and I think people generally like that. For season 2, they're like, oh, we're just going to release them in waves of 3.
In waves of 3. Yeah, I think you had a 3 episode dump in the beginning to kind of get everybody interested, and then it was 1 episode. This, yeah, I don't know. This is just a like I said, it's a Google search. I don't know if this is accurate, but they're saying that all 3 remaining episodes are going to show up. Well, there's no description. It just says episodes 10, 11, and 12. Is there going to be a 13th episode as a final episode? I'm not exactly sure.
You can share my screen. I asked ChatGPT to make us a Mon Mothra, but that's what it came up with. It's actually a moth and Godzilla.
Godzilla.
It didn't understand what I was saying.
It didn't understand. It's too much. The pop culture references were too much for Chat GPT. Couldn't do it.
Give me 1 second. I want to try one more time.
Try
okay?
one more. Give it a really good shot here.
So, what are you hoping for in the next 3 episodes? What do you think we're gonna see?
Because we know
hope
where
it'll
we're going to
cover?
end, I don't know what else to expect. I don't really know. Michael B says, I have never watched a single episode of Andor. I'm just here to support Fox and Justin. We appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for being here. You're missing out on a great show, though. Definitely want to start. If you do want to, if you have a desire to watch it, start with episode 1, season 1, and just binge it, or maybe wait till next week and then binge all 2 seasons. But oh yeah, he says hopefully tons of nudity. That would get me to watch. Would be there we go.
Tell him that Deidre gets choked in this episode.
Oh
You
yeah,
might
yeah,
like that.
yeah. There's a chick that gets choked in this episode, so
That was pretty epic.
there's that. That's
Tell
whatever
me
you're
this
into.
is a rumor, and I'll throw you out the window.
that's a thing that exists in Star Wars now. IMDb is saying episodes 10, 11, and 12, May 13th. No, yeah, that's what I saw too, Kurt. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe that's it. They're just gonna
That
release
could just
three,
be
three,
it.
3, and that's it.
So unfortunately, yeah, we'll have to delay it slightly because I'll be traveling. We'll see how that goes. Maybe we can do it. Maybe we can do it Thursday night. So it won't be Wednesday night, but it might be Thursday night.
Where are you traveling?
So I'm traveling to St. Louis, and then I'm coming back from St. Louis, I think, on Thursday. So I might be home Thursday night. And then after that, heading up to Iowa,
That's
where
right.
I may stop by and see my buddy here, my partner in crime, Justin, for a day, and then I'm going to continue on further north to watch my niece graduate high school. It's kind of a big deal. It's
Okay, ready.
she oh no. Oh God, go.
It mixed it with Godzilla. It's good though. This is the free version of ChatGPT. Okay.
I think we're ready. Oh my God.
It didn't understand Mothra.
So you had to tell it Mothra was in the Godzilla universe, and it just put. There goes Tokyo. Here come Mothzilla. Monzilla?
Okay, I'll try Star Wars Mon Mothma with
Star Wars Mon
Mothra.
Mothma.
Is that his Mothra,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Here's my last search. Foreheads touching in Star Wars.
What does it mean? Here comes Monzilla.
It's coming. Let's see what it comes up with.
Oh dear God, we've gone completely off the rails. Did you know that David Carradine of Kill Bill fame died of Autoerotic asphyxiation. Yes, yes, we.
It
That's
it
good.
gets to that level with
It does.
it
It's wild.
does.
Well,
I
there's death.
was surprised.
Yeah, yeah, there is death for sure. Lots of death and some choking. Um, Foreheads touching. It's all very confusing. Space
right.
love. I don't know.
Okay, processing image any minute now.
This is
It's
gonna be good.
Be great. It's gonna be
This is
great.
gonna be. This is gonna be epic. This is gonna.
What is the okay, so the worst scene, the rave dancing.
The rave dancing was pretty bad. There's decisions that were made that I don't agree with, but
What's
that doesn't
worse?
mean they're a bad scene.
Rave
You know.
or grape? Which one's worse?
Well, like I said, I don't agree with the motivations, but I think that the scene was shot well. I think it was unnecessary. Oh God.
We did it.
We did it.
We
This
did
is
it.
what you come here for. This is what you want, people. Give the people what they want.
All right.
Monzilla Mothra. I don't know, something. So yeah, so everybody, hopefully you're digging the series. I am liking it. I mean, am I on the road? Do I see myself making a purchase in the future? Another Steelbook. Will this be the fourth Steelbook Disney show that I purchase? Probably. I mean, we kind of know how it's going to end. I like what they've done so far, and I like to, like I said, vote with my wallet. So if this continues to go well, I'm excited to see the last few episodes. Want to see how the team gets together, and maybe call it done for Disney Star Wars. This might be the best it could ever be. You know, never gets any better. Who knows? Who knows?
I think the earnings call today, 1 million people signed up for Disney Plus, a lot of them in the United States. Maybe it's to watch Andor.
Maybe it's to watch Andor. Maybe word is finally getting out that this is some solid TV. I mean, it really is. I think if you take the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian and these 2 seasons of Andor, it's solid, man. It's solid. And this is somebody who doesn't like Disney Star Wars. This is solid, though. I like it. I absolutely dig it.
Okay, so here's one last thought.
Okay.
So it's good. So does that mean Kathleen Kennedy is not involved in this?
Oh, I'm sure she's involved. And it's like having, like a broken clock is right twice a day. So,
or is it like Tony Gilroy has a little bit more spine than, say, who's the guy that did Mandalorian? The Iron Man guy?
Jon Favreau.
Because
Yeah.
there's a narrative, and I don't know if it's
Yeah.
true, but there's a narrative that Jon Favreau, wrote the first 2 seasons, put it out there.
Yep.
First season was a hit right away. Episode 1, like, basically what goes viral.
Oh, yeah.
Baby Yoda is the talk of the world. And just guessing, I don't know what happened, but Kathleen Kennedy comes in and maybe executives come in and say, "Ooh, this, we got to control this thing." He's like, "I already wrote the first 2 episodes,
Yeah.
the first seasons. You can't touch it. Like, we're
Yep.
already in production, all that."
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
fine. But season 3, we're gonna like
That's it.
jump the shark as much as possible.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened. I always use the analogy of The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 with Tobey Maguire, they go off. There is sort of a singular vision of Sam Raimi, and Sony's fairly hands-off, and they're happy with the results. The second Spider-Man reboot, okay, the first one, man, that does pretty good. All right. And then The Amazing Spider-Man 2, studio notes galore. They try to cram in the Spidey universe. They make it just, it's a radical departure from the first movie. It's so bad, it derails and destroys that particular run of Spider-Man to where there's no third movie. They don't even make a third movie. And it actually sends Sony on this path of just self-destruction where they're making Venom movies, which are, mixed reviews, and then one after another. Madam Web, Craven, I mean, these super villain-focused movies. Morbius, I mean, that just go nowhere and they fall flat. And I think that's what happened with Mandalorian. Obviously, they had something that was really just like running like gangbusters, awesome, clear vision, and the studios just want to jump on that, and they just want to put more stuff in there because they see money, and that's all they understand, and they don't get it creatively. She was always a producer. She should have just stuck to producing. She's not a creative person.
I think you're right, because when Iger came back and took more control, the very first thing he says is we're moving control back to the creatives.
Yep.
It's literally everywhere. Everything that he says is like it's a general statement that, and he reorged the entire company to be like
Absolutely.
creatives
Yeah.
empower, creatives empower, creatives empower. I don't know if that what that did at Lucasfilm. I don't really know. Like, did he kind of like, hey, maybe for Andor, it's like, again, Tony Gilroy, it seems to be like heavy involved in the whole series, and he wrote a lot of the episodes, and so it kind of feels like, like all the best episodes of Mandalorian, almost all of them are passionate writers. And it's kind of famous people, right? So like Jon Favreau wrote like really, really great episodes. And then whenever it's directed by someone who was also great, like it turned out to be like a great episode.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's some kind of not so great episodes. And if you go find those and go, who wrote it? It's typically not. You're like, I don't know that person.
Exactly. Or they weren't that invested, or they kind of wanted, they had a neat idea. Let's just throw it in Star Wars,
Yeah. And then
there are a few lies in the chat I want to address. This right here is an absolute lie. We can't allow this to stand. Fist of Love makes a perfect good observation. Jimmy Smith cursing, grapes, choking. It's a kid's show. it's a bit. I understand the difference. I get it, but I think that Star Wars fans are old people, and we want a diversity in our entertainment, in our storytelling. And I think the time between episode 3 and 4 is dark, and it had to be to kind of get to the rebellion for sure. And we won in that by getting Spider-Man in the MCU. Exactly, that was the derailment that kind of led to better things.
They just had to hook their wagon to the success of Iron Man, basically, in the MCU.
Basically, yeah. Which is another reason why I think Jon Favreau had all that weight behind him, that power, when he was doing Mandalorian 1 and 2, because, hey, look what he did with Iron Man. He helped kick off the entire MCU. So he had some weight behind it. He had some gravitas, and they let him go. But I think maybe after season 2, he was kind of like almost, maybe he was out of ideas, or maybe that was just time for somebody else to take control. And Kathleen Kennedy's like, I'm the boss. This is what we're going to do, by golly.
Seems that way. It seems, because there was a lot of rumors that he was less involved, and he was like, I'm done. There's no way Jon Favreau said, this is the Mandalorian season 3 I want.
No,
I think make any sense.
I think he probably spent all of his political capital. He probably pulled every string he could to get Luke in the last episode of season 2.
I've heard that theory that she didn't know about it.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. And I think maybe she wanted it to be somebody else, Ahsoka or whoever. And they kind of did everything they had to get him in there, kind of knowing that was the last hurrah.
We had to keep it a secret. We couldn't tell anybody.
Yeah, even Kathleen.
That's the story, right?
Yep.
Then there's... But things are coming around. Like, we got some good shows coming out from Andor. And then the MCU, right? It's got the new movie coming with the Tony Stark guy. What's his name?
Oh, you mean the Avengers Doomsday?
Yeah.
With Robert Downey Jr.?
Robert Downey Jr. I had heard some rumors that, they plan to... They're like, evidently we need that guy. He's he's important.
Oh, yeah.
So there was a rumor that he's locked in for the MCU for the next 10 years.
Oh God,
he's like, sure, pay me billions of dollars and I'll do it. And they're like, worth it.
Once they crack the seal on the multiverse, all stakes are out the window, but it does give them the opportunity to cast anybody in any role. So yeah, he's going to be Doctor Doom. I heard Chris Evans is going to come back and play Captain Hydra, like the evil Captain America. I don't know how people are going to take a lot of this stuff. There is a storyline in the comics where another universe, another Earth or whatever.
Yeah.
You have Tony Stark and Victor Von Doom going to college together, and Victor Von Doom is able to possess or switch bodies. Their minds switch and jump into different bodies. So now Victor Von Doom, the evil guy, is in Tony Stark's body,
Right.
has access to Tony Stark's wealth, goes and does all these evil things. And Tony Stark is in Von Doom's body, but he's still got his brain. So there is a storyline where you're actually going to have an evil guy that looks just like Tony Stark because it's
Right.
actually Von Doom. So is that
Right.
what they're going to do?
I think that's what they're going to do.
Probably.
Some
But
of the
to
rumor videos I watched were straight up exactly what you're saying. Like,
That's it.
they're just rebooting the MCU in this alternate universe, and people are going to love it. There'll be a moment of like, you can't do that, and then people are like, it works with the comics actually.
I think you're
And,
probably gonna.
hey,
I think
you
you're
get
probably
Tony-
right. Yeah, yeah.
You get
No,
all
I
the
think
actors you love.
you get anybody. It's like a gigantic what if scenario
Yeah.
where you could just get any actor, put them in any role, and we'll just say multiverse. For me, it takes away all stakes. So and which is fine. But I
If it's
really
a good story.
but I've said it before. I'll say it again. After Endgame, you should have had the final Spider-Man movie. You should have had the final Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and then you shut the book and you start a brand new MCU 2.0, whatever you want to call it, and you begin with all the characters that Disney now owns because they were limited in the beginning of the first MCU. That's
Yeah.
why they had to stick with Iron Man. And all that. Just start out and recast.
Maybe
and
that's what
it's
they're
like
doing.
peeling off.
Oh,
It's peeling
they're-
off a Band-Aid.
I see.
Yeah, it's like
They're
peeling
not
off a
recasting.
Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Recast everybody, and you don't have to start with Iron Man. You start with whoever, but you rip off that Band-Aid, you reset, and you tell all those stories in this one big universe where everybody is totally included, and you have a 20-year plan instead of a 10-year plan. Or you can just keep doing what you're doing and make it convoluted. I think there's going to be a lot of fun, cool moments in these movies, but it is now feels like whatever stakes were in the MCU originally are totally gone, and this is just a fun what if series of movies. And you know what? I think I'm fine with that. It's better than this other direction they were going. So game on. I'm in.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go to bed because it's late. Everybody, thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us and talking about Star Wars stuff and being kind of nerdy. It's interesting. It's fun. I'm having a good time. I do like hanging out with Justin where we get to talk about Star Wars we enjoy. It's much better than complaining on the internet, which we tend to do a lot of anyway, that other stuff. But I guess that's okay. So next week.
I also love Fox too.
Yeah. See, we're the best of friends. Stay
bestest.
tuned. Stay tuned to my YouTube channel. I'm going to make posts on the upcoming schedule. We'll figure out how many episodes are actually left. I'm pretty sure it's just those 3. And then I'll let you know when we're going to actually have the show. Maybe that following Thursday. We will touch foreheads, just like Kurt
Whoa.
said, in the future sometime. And
You should put that on a thumbnail, like our.
that just
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what we'll do.
And then
Okay.
arrow touch foreheads. That's the name of our podcast now.
Bing, touch
We
foreheads. And then we talk about whatever. Makes sense. I like it.
It's pretty good.
Everybody, thank you so much for stopping by and check out the channel. You have a blessed day. We will see all of you right back here next time. Bye, everybody.